Hello everyone, it's Oluwanifemi Kolawole from the Techpoint Africa studio. Yes, and this is another episode of the Techpoint Africa Podcast. It's a sunny afternoon in Lagos, Nigeria. On which note should we start from? It's as if the atmosphere is kind of damp, and I think I should remember something that excites me.
Atmosphere.
They didn't even know you were in the studio yet. After I introduced you and you're talking.
Oh. You're saying atmosphere. I was looking around for the atmosphere.
With me in the studio today is
Olu.
Dream.
Okay, they're in the studio. Now you know. What were you saying?
So, which atmosphere is it town or what?
Yeah.
Which atmosphere is that?
I don't want to go into it because this is not
The Lagos atmosphere. No, but today is a bright sunny day.
Yeah.
It's sunny.
It is.
Anyway, at the time of this recording, the only thing that is damp or down or whatever down is food right now. I just need to eat. That's all. And all will be well.
Anybody that doesn't work should not eat. If you've not recorded this podcast, you're not supposed to eat. Anyways, something that excites me, which you already know, and that's the Modern Workplace Africa Conference. And I'm exactly looking forward to it because looking at our lineup of speakers, and they are elite. Trust me. No, if I lied to you before, they are elite, and you don't want to miss it. We will put a link in the description, and we'll also play you a video that our CEO recorded to help you know all you need to know about the event. Okay, so I think we should move from there to what we have today. CBN is on its way to getting a permanent governor. In the past few days, I think 2 days ago, a list of nominees for the position of the CBN governor and deputy governors have been released, and I think we should just mention a thing or two we know about the nominated CBN governor. His name is Olayemi Michael Cardozo. Cardozo.
Is that Yoruba or Portuguese?
Who knows?
Bolu. Portuguese.
Yes, Olayemi Cardozo was nominated by Tinubu. Interestingly, he was the commissioner for budget and planning in 1999. I think under Tinubu as well. And he has served as a consultant at some notable international organizations like World Bank, United Nations, Ford, and a lot of others. I think he was also on the board of Chevron and Texaco. So, I mean, there's something tech reviewers usually say, and then say when you look at the spec sheets, I mean the spec sheets looks
impressive.
Okay, yeah, it looks impressive. Yes, but it's different to seeing spec sheets and actually using the device are two very different things.
Or delivering on
exactly
what they
delivering,
say
and I mean if you judging by what is coming into, right?
Okay.
I mean
he's
coming. Yeah,
he's coming in to fix
exactly,
or do a miracle.
Exactly. So I mean, 18-year high inflation, a naira value that, I mean, we all know what has happened to the naira in the past few years. So many policies, botched policies. So I mean, really, he has his work cut out for him. And again, like I said, the spec sheet is looking impressive, but until he actually does the job,
it sounds as if you have like your reservations concerning this man.
Yes, I have my reservations. Well, I'm more interested in Tim Gozim's reservations because he's like he has a trap. So he has set a trap for me. So this is kind of like
I can't be setting trap for you. Your name is not Tinubu. So can be setting trap for you.
Can you imagine?
I mean, it's a God that I can be setting trap for if there's any trap. But I really do not. Okay, spec sheet looks impressive based on what fact that you worked at the World Bank, or in what capacity? What did you do at the World Bank?
I think policymaker and consultant.
Okay, well, it's still not impressive enough to me, Sha. It's just like saying you went to Harvard. What did you do at Harvard? But yes, bans aside, Sha. A lot of the problems with Nigeria's economy can be fixed by a CBN governor. So I get why it's important to have a CBN governor, but a lot of the problems can be fixed by him.
I think one thing a lot of people also have, like, a lot of people are saying if he's going to actually deliver, if he's going to do anything, he really needs to be able to work independently.
Yes,
right?
that's like the most important thing. When you're in a position and you can't come up with policies and push them, when you know the policies for the good of that commission, and you are influenced by probably the government or any external body, the extent to which you can perform is limited. So what I'm holding out hope for the nominated CBN governor, if he eventually comes and gets into the position, is him being what's it called?
Independent enough to make
independent enough to make decisions, right? It should not be like a rod of punishment in the hands of government. Like if you want to punish a group of people, you just say institute this policy and everything cast. That's the word.
Which we saw a lot of.
Yeah.
The last
So independence is, if sometimes this thing is something that happens common. It's common when maybe a new person is coming to a post and there will be a TV or radio program. They say people should call in. What do you expect from this person or so person? If I'm asked, I just want him to be independent. There are lots of things that are on ground that are very, very terrible, and it's coming to fix it. This is one of the positions you'll be given, and you first of all look at yourself and cry. Be like, where do I want to start from? I'm coming to fix somebody's mess, right? So I just hope he can do it better. And 5 years is a lot of time. It's a lot of time to effect change, even if it's just to scratch.
Do it in less than that.
If it can scratch the surface, it's something that's anybody else that is coming.
You scratch the surface, man. That's well, just stay in your house, man.
No. We don't expect him to perform a miracle.
No, you're not expected to perform a miracle, but you can do a good job. So scratching the surface is not
a good job.
It's not.
It should be, considering the current situation that we are.
If you scratch the surface, you not do a good job. You barely did your job.
So let's look at it this way. What are the things that are spots now? One is the naira has been badly devalued. Inflation is at an 18-year high. Okay, let's just look at those two. Or I don't know. There's a lot.
Exchange rate.
But are they, like I said,
can he solve all these things within 5 years?
Is it even his responsibility to solve that?
To solve,
your currency devaluation isn't a CBN problem. If you are being honest,
it's a policy issue.
It's okay. It's both policy.
So what exactly
and
is
economic? Is both policy and political. Why is your inflation high? Inflation is just that prices are going up. The CBN doesn't wake up one morning and say, let the price of Gary go up by 30%. There's a reason for that. You have insecurity that has. I recently saw in the news that farmers, I think in Borno State, were being amputated by terrorists. Those farmers can't go to the farm. If they can't go to the farm, they can't produce. If they can't produce, your food is scarce, and naturally the prices go up. So it's not a policy issue in this case. It's now an insecurity problem on that aspect. Are you producing enough to meet local demand? If you're producing enough to meet local demand, naturally your prices will be okay. But if you're not producing enough, you can't do anything about it. Why do we have the dollar selling at nearly 1,000 naira if it hasn't gotten to that? Partially because people need dollars for business or companies, individuals. They need dollars to pay for school fees. They need dollars to buy raw materials. Again, back to production. You don't produce enough raw materials for most of your industries. So companies that are located here have to go out to source for it. They can't source for it in Naira.
Yeah, I get all the problems you are mentioning.
So it's not.
But what would you, if you were going to like set a benchmark for him to know if he was successful, what would that be?
To set a benchmark, I think one will be a regulatory issue. Fortunately, yeah, it will be a regulatory issue. I think it would be with basically, yes, we are running a floating exchange rate right now. Take your hands off it and try and see if there's anything you can do at all to increase supply of forex. That's something you can do. I think, of course, it's not a quick fix, but maybe over the next 6 months to a year, you could find a way to get more of that. I think the fintech industry should be regulated as much as banks are currently regulated. I think that's something that needs to be worked on. We probably talk about it
Speaking of
later on. Yeah,
So,
that's what I said. We'll talk about it, but I think
I think you are supporting what I said. Like, there are a lot of things wrong,
yeah.
and there's only so much that CBN can do. But if CBN gets this right in the area of regulate, I don't like the way you are approaching this regulation thing, because going by their history, right, bringing regulations to a large extent stifles whatever it is.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree?
But it's a discussion for another day.
Another day.
Yeah.
So, but we are wishing the nominees a good run, or if they get.
Well, let's hold the wishes until they are appointed.
Yes,
Then
I
we
said
can
a
now
good
give
run
them-
if they can.
if they get appointed.
If they get appointed, but the chances are looking very.
I mean, let me not say anything,
very
but
close.
they most likely will get.
Exactly.
They most likely will.
But yeah, we can revisit this conversation once we are sure that we have a CBN governor in Nigeria. So from there we can go to, because you was talking about regulating fintechs in Nigeria the other time, and I don't know whether this news came as a shock or what. It was so clear in the offing, like we've seen it coming, and that's the fact that there are reports that Payday is looking to sell. Yeah, so
Yes.
he's looking for who will acquire them.
Barely, I think 3 months after raising 3
6
million.
months after
6,
raising
yeah.
like $3
Was it 6 or 3
million
months?
dollars.
I think it was 3 months.
Just a few months. All right, let's use
Just
3
a
months.
few
yeah.
months.
Yeah, after raising.
6
I'm-
months.
6 months,
6
right?
months after raising $3 million.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting stuff.
Mm.
So I think a lot of things came out that, I mean, there were a lot of things in that story that, you know, the fact that they are looking to sell just after raising money is pretty big.
Mhm.
Is
But-
it?
Oh, wait, okay. It's not. I mean, thinking about it now, it's actually no. But then I think the main crux of the issue is how the startup was being run, and then
According
you
to
can
the
according to the
Techpoint
Techpoint article. So, and if you just to talk about that, you just have to take one specific thing. I think one thing a lot of people have on to, which is the fact that the CEO was
As Favor Ori.
Favor Ori was paying himself $15,000 every
monthly
month.
salary.
Yeah, and they also slashed salaries after they raised that money. And then, I mean, when you slash people's salaries, right, and then they know you are still earning that
No
much,
full salary.
people will feel
Why did you slash salary? Is it not to save money?
yes, and you are still earning. But then he told Tech about that. Oh, he was earning that much, but then he slashed it at some point. It's not clear when exactly or how long he was earning.
Or how
50.
much he slashed the $15,000.
Exactly. Did you slash it by half? Did you slash it by 2%? So
Slash.
that's, I think, a lot of people hung on to that. And then I also saw I saw someone tweeted something about him, 4 years ago. There was a startup he founded before where he wasn't paying the developers, and
I remember
yes, and I think the thing
was
I mean, you used
cancelled
to
online that
Yeah.
year. I'm trying with Jackpa. That's the startup.
Oh yes. So I think Payday itself already has a lot of bad press following it. I mean, even before these reports, a lot of customers could not access funds. People were complaining of and a lot of complaints generally, and this coming out now isn't so much of a surprise. I mean, we already know there was something wrong, right? But then we just didn't know how deep or how bad it was. So
It's quite sad. I don't know if I should put it like that because I've spoken with founders of startups that are VC funded, and I've spoken with founders that are bootstrapped. There's a way they think that is different. It's as if they exist in different worlds, right? Especially when it comes to managing fund. And when it comes to especially managing fund, right? I don't know how the agreement that investors have with founders, or if they do due diligence, or if they follow up with their books, because these are things that when you give somebody your money to use it to develop a product or make it or scale it, you should be able to ask for their books probably every month to see how they are doing, because you are investing here. Fine. 9 out of 10 startups fail in the first 5 years. Fine, we know that, but you should have done everything you have to do before it fails.
I think the investors do that, right? I'm sure they do that.
Yes, they should, but maybe some don't. Because in a case like this, where you are burning out investors' fund, because what do you want to say?
No, it all just flashed through my mind, and it's very, very interesting.
Share it with us.
I can't share it on camera. I'll share it with you guys after. Anyway, so is it surprising that Payday is looking to be, could be interested or could be looking for
An acquirer.
It's not. Why do I say that? It's not a bad thing to get acquired first.
Yes. Decision and mergers are where you survive.
It's always
and stuff.
great. And when they raised the seed round, there was a story, I think 2 days or so after, that Moneypoint was interested in acquiring them. And Moneypoint rebuffed the story. They said it wasn't true. Payday declined to comment, I think. I think that was when there was a sense that an acquisition
is in the offing.
It's in the offing. And I remember Benjamin Dara made a tweet and he said, Favor has proven to be great at building products. Mm-hmm. It's now left to be seen if you can take products from zero. Yeah, he has shown that he can do 0 to 1, but can you go from 1 to 100? I think that's the biggest question here, right? Mm-hmm. You could be brilliant, you could be a great engineer and a great salesman, whatever. You could just be very good at starting things, but companies are not. Companies are almost like everything in life. The fact that you started something is not good enough. It's good that you started something, but can you grow it? Can you keep it alive for as long as is humanly possible? That's now where your mettle as a founder is tested. In his own case, we've seen him launch several products and build them to the point where it's got a lot of users, right? But sustainability has always been an issue. It's either, in fact, it has always been some form of misconduct. It's either you're not paying people appropriately, or you're reneging on your agreements. Like, all of these issues have always come up, and I know that when I think last year or so there were these conversations about has he turned a new leaf? Has anything changed and all of that? And I don't know why. That's why I said we need fintechs to be regulated, right? The problems they had are not exactly. They are not new
They're not
problems.
external problems.
They are not. Yeah,
External influence.
exactly
It's
because
totally
internal.
it's
It's
not
something.
external.
It's not external.
It's not external, and it comes back to something that you may have noticed. Very few startups have failed because of external problems. Most of them, and I'm speaking of in the last 3 to 4 years, most of them have always failed because of
the ones that are not
internal
failed as
issues.
from
So
external
that you're
problems
going
like
to-
ride hailing.
yeah.
We know that one.
You're either
was
going to
external.
hire a ton of staff that
paying them
you now
outrageously.
6 months later, that's another thing that people should. And this is a funny conversation because it touches everybody, right? It's
Mhm.
not just the founders.
Yeah.
Why are founders paying this ridiculous amount? Tech has taken on that, I call it toga of a very lucrative field, right?
Yeah.
And so people get into tech with certain expectations.
Mhm.
If you see some conversations, people are like, you want to pay me a senior developer 300K. Something must be wrong somewhere.
That's ridiculous.
Right.
anyways. That's ridiculous.
I don't know if it's ridiculous because
It is. It's outrageous. For somebody to be like a senior developer, you should have at least 5 years of experience. Why would you be offering that kind of person 300,000? I'm not saying that they should ask for 5 million. I'm just saying that it should actually offer them what is commensurate with their experience. But I'm not trying to invalidate the fact that a seed stage startup should not be offering like outrageously big amount to maybe you want to push that person from a bigger startups. That is what I don't agree with. You're not supposed to
Yeah.
be using the money you raise to be paying salary.
okay, maybe anyway before developers come for me, sure, but I'm not saying they should not pay you guys well. Lou. I'm just saying if you're going to, and maybe it's not the people who are, it's not the employees who set the standard in a way. If I'm the founder, if I'm your investor, I would think that you are very, very frugal with your expenses. So
Mhm.
maybe if you can do it just 1 or 2 senior developers instead of hiring like 3,
Build
4.
For one product.
Yeah, if you can do it just 1 or 2, maybe you can do that and then pay them a little bit below market rate, and then try to compensate in other ways. But a situation where you are a seed stage startup and you are offering 200, 300K for positions that your competitors who are better funded, larger, older, like you're paying at the same level, it doesn't make sense. It's like you just start a new company and you want to be paying as well as every other person. It doesn't make sense.
I think I should just mention it before we move on to the next thing. We're saying off camera how this issue is everybody is involved in it, both the investors, both the talent themselves, the startups, even the media. You get
I'll take out the
contributing.
talent. I'll take out the talent because the talent tells you what to pay, but ultimately you're the one that says, okay, based on what I have, this is how what I can pay.
Yeah.
Of course, if you
So-
need them, you will still want to go for at least something close to what they are requesting for.
I mean,
Yeah,
that-
but you could it's easier for you to walk away than for the talent to walk away. It's
Well,
easier for you
That's
to
why I
walk
said
away.
is the okay. It's for the ecosystem too. Is a problem because
Yeah.
when people position themselves and because they've been in that field for a long time and they give you this idea that this is how much you should ask for your years of experience, of course the talent will go for it. So this 4 group of people should just find a way to fix themselves around it so that we don't like paint our reputation like the funding scene, because when you start counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 startups that are closing down or losing their businesses just for not managing their investors' fund well, it's going to give a bad brand to the Nigerian tech ecosystem. So I hope we can do better, and we are here in the media space to report it. Yeah. So from there, we're moving to another startup founder who had had it rough in the past, and there's this Yoruba proverb that say if a horse should knock you down, you get back on it. Transliterally like that. If you're a Yoruba person, you get what I'm trying to say.
I'll not
But
get
yeah.
back on it.
Are you a Yoruba person? You will not get back on it. And you don't want to go to where you are going. I'm talking about Abasi.
Let's not.
Abasi Ene-Obong is the former founder of 54 Gene. The
I mean,
genomic,
former, you're sure founder of 54 Gene.
founder, I think former CEO of 54 Gene. And he's starting another genomic startup. Yeah. Okay, Chief Gosrin, tell us about it.
I mean, there's nothing
That time
there
is
really.
pretty straightforward. This is something that should spark conversation because when you talk about serial entrepreneurs, right? Last week we were talking about Olumide, what's his name again? Dio Olumide.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how many e-commerce startups he has tried before,
Yeah.
right? Right from the days of Glue, then to Payport. Is it Payport?
No, was people on
Paypeka.
Paypeka. Thank you. I knew I was mixing something up. And we saw how he has always been in the e-commerce space and he's always looking for what to work, what will work, right? We understand those kind of serial entrepreneur. But if you notice, he has approached the e-commerce thing in different ways, right? So for this person to now be going back into genomics, and we have this idea, and maybe the way 54G turned out gave us the idea that this kind of establishment is a good one, but it requires a long number of years for you to see the impact because it requires a lot of research and development, and it needs a lot of funds.
Yeah.
And when VCs are giving you money, they're expecting that returns will be close. You get, and you can't do that with this kind of startup. So I just want us to talk about why it's going back to this kind of
I see.
startup.
So I'm not holding
Product.
brief for him. Let me start with that disclaimer. But it's up to you what business you decide to run, really.
Okay.
And should you do a business or should you get into a sector that is maybe a few years
Ahead of his time.
Yeah, it's also up to you. For some reasons, we have people in the US who are trying to work on elongating life, and they are getting funded by VCs, right?
Yeah.
Is it really VCs that are funding them?
Yeah. VCs are investing in. There are specialized VC firms that do health tech. So they do biotechnology investments. It's not the usual software play. Okay. So they just focus on that. Yeah. We have specialized firms in Europe and the US. We are not at the level where we can afford specialized firms in Africa. So you can't have that. Mm-hmm. Why is he doing it? A lot of reasons or possible reasons. Maybe he thinks he could do something entirely different. And the way he left 54 Gene doesn't look like an amicable decision, like something he did on his own. So it's not clear exactly the reason he left or the reasons that led to his departure. I suspect there was something wrong, not necessarily with the business model. It was a management issue, probably falling out with investors, falling out with the board, and all of that. That could be the reason or the major reason he left. And he thinks so. His senior management at the new startup also has someone from 54 Gene. I think two people as well. Where basically some of his team members from 54 Gene are here. If it's very similar to what we are talking about, or it could be similar. Was it corporate governance? I've seen some conversations that look like there were issues with their corporate governance, and basically it's just another reminder that we should start having these conversations and that they should become more like people should start taking them more seriously, because if it's a corporate governance issue that led to his departure, then are you going to fix it in the new company? But as for whether you want to do this, there are other sources of funding beside or beyond venture capital. Maybe he wants to explore that.
I have a theory though. So the thing about people who venture into spaces where you wouldn't normally get a lot of people venturing into is usually a case of they usually feel very strongly about it, right? So what I'm thinking is, you feel strongly about it, and then I would also pose another theory that they probably got the wrong kind of funding at 54 Jane, because like you said, it's something that requires you need a lot of room to research, develop. You need a lot of funding, right? They probably got investors.
Sorry,
I won't say they got
you. You remember that story of that startup that I think it's AI startup. Ubenwa. Yes, you see how long they've been on this research and development. What they are doing is very, very, very like it's going to be groundbreaking and life changing.
Those are businesses at the beginning. They don't even have a business model. There isn't usually a money making model at that start.
Whose fault is that? The VC. Your fault?
No, it's the market.
It's because
it's not really the market.
I think it's because of the kind of solution you're trying to provide. It's not the thing is just like hardware, like the hardware space. One thing I've noticed about the hardware space is that one thing is for you to create the solution. The other thing is for you to now create a way to market it. Most times you see people that have already created the solution. And then the second thing is, it now takes them another 8 years to now discover a way to create that product that people can actually afford, right? So
I think it's
a very difficult.
I have a different view on that because what's a business model? How you make money? Simple. It's that simple. So in the beginning, you may not have a strict business model. Or you should have a business model, except you're doing a non-profit. If you're not doing a non-profit, you should have a business model. I should see a clear path, because when I'm investing, I'm asking you, okay, this is what you do. I may not understand exactly how it works, or how are you making money from it, or how do you intend to make money from it. If you can't tell me, then we shouldn't be talking really. That's it. So the fact that your business will take a while before it gains widespread acceptance, or maybe for you to get to the point where you're making really good money, it doesn't stop you from having a business model or receiving funding. Why do I say that? Fund cycles are like 10 years. 10 years is a long time, right? And they are just saying, we want to recoup our investment. If you run a proper business, if I give you $1 million, in 10 years at the very least, you should be able to, if you run a proper business, you should be able to give me healthy returns. Now, will you have achieved your goal at that point? Probably not. But you should have still been able to show some progress, right? So, let's say you take the money and you're taking it with the intention that, look, we have a 10-year plan to get to this. These are milestones that we need. Don't take money for a goal you don't like. A goal that isn't clearly defined. That's where I differ. Your hardware solution, that is not a funding problem. It is now you looking at it and saying, okay, we are 10 years away from people being able to afford this product. How do we stay in business until that day when people can afford this?
You keep iterating now.
Yeah, should we target a different segment of the market? So, for example, let's look at what's the name of this electric steel tech, for example. Should we forget about the mass market? We can always work on them. Should we focus on businesses alone? If I focus on businesses, okay, businesses, they probably have more money. Not probably, they have more money than individuals. So maybe we should do that while waiting until the day that customers can. And that's it. It's not you telling me you want to do this one goal like that is so far off in the future that you can't even see. It makes no sense. Isn't it a business model?
I think we should try to close with this, right? From your perspective now, from the arguments you are making, how do you feel the genomics startup in Africa, in the African market, and an African market can make money, either in the short run or in the long run?
First of all, I'm no genomics expert, so I can't tell you how you will make money. What I can tell you is you're the expert. You know every application, or you should know every application of your service, your product. You know how it works, right? Go figure out. Do you want to serve? What market do you want to serve?
The African market.
Yeah.
So
do you want to?
You know, the case I'm trying to make is the fact that whether they have a business model or not, it's a long-term play.
Yes, I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, so
But the fact that it's a long-term play doesn't mean you should not start.
yeah, they should
That's what I'm
start.
saying.
So
what
where
you
we're
should now
coming
figure out-
from is the side of the investors.
Mm-hmm.
Given the way the amount,
Nobody's
there are many
holding a
cycles,
gun
how
to
many
your head.
funding cycles that startups have to make, like Series A, seed, pre-seed, Series A, Series B. Some of them is even raise Series F and still go and shut down.
There's no one that says you must raise X amount of money. It's a very simple thing. You're building a business.
But it's capital intensive.
It still doesn't. Are you going to be the first person to build a capital intensive business?
What I'm saying, what I was trying to say is, you probably got investors that were
Not the long-term
looking
thing.
for. I mean, me, I'm looking at it from this perspective now. What if? I mean, how long has Flutterwave been around? It's not up to a decade.
Not yet.
It's not up to a decade, but then I'm sure the investors have been getting returns. But then imagine a business.
Except you're the earliest investor.
Okay, but imagine a startup where after 10 years there's still no
Trying to
returns,
find
and
market
they still
fit.
need to keep raising. Not even
This is not
finding market.
crypto.
They still need to
VC
keep
funding is
raising.
not crypto.
Eh?
This is not crypto that you're buying and trading crypto. You know how investors get their money back, Abi.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the fact that I invested in you,
Mm.
my options of getting my money back is an exit or an acquisition. What question you could be asking now is, should I be building a genomic startup to sell to a big biotechnology company in the US? Or should I just build for myself? If you don't, that's an option for you. You can build to sell to a big tech company in the US. It's an option for your investors. So maybe you do not need to wait for like the next 25, 30 years. You just build over the next 10 years and sell.
I think we should.
I don't want to
take
blame the investors because
we
we've
should
not
take
seen any
this.
indication.
Wait,
No, these days I'm typically on the side of the investors for some reason. Maybe because I write a lot about them, but it's because it's not always the investor that is doing you. It's not investor that will give you a business model. Of course, some of them can be silly and just be giving out money without too much due
Understanding.
diligence or that. But you're the one who has to come up with the business. The investor is not the expert. He doesn't run your business day to day. You may have specialized firms where maybe the investor has like 30, 40 years of experience in this sector. But ultimately, you do the work. So go figure out how you want to run a genomic startup in Africa and then come to the investor. Don't go to the investor and then start figuring out how you want to run a genomic. You won't be the first person. Like, look at Jumia.
Yeah.
Not a very good example, right? But they came long before e-commerce became acceptable.
Yeah.
And they made the mistake of going, like, they could have raised way less money than they've done and still stayed alive.
Yeah.
Beating their time for when Africans are ready for e-commerce. So basically, don't build your business for an investor. Build your business because you want to solve a problem or because you want to live a good life. That's also a valid reason. But really, don't build it for an investor.
Okay. Chikwazumi is dropping gems for us. But
I know.
we will carry this argument to behind the camera. We don't want to
Yes,
keep you
where we
waiting,
can
but you can
show
drop
us.
your.
I'm hungry.
You can. Yes, we will. Don't mind Bolu. He's not going to eat until we finish this argument. Yes, you can also follow other news that we've discussed on the website, talking about how Kenya's communication authorities Director General was suspended over corrupt practices. It's a funny story. You should go and read it on the start on the website. Also, Safaricom's collaboration with Apple, how Convexity, that Nigerian startup, made it to Circle's pitch finals.
Yeah.
And also I3 announces second cohort. And finally, NASPA CEO steps down. All the stories are on the Techpoint Africa website. If you heard Shingo was doing the other time, he also has a series that is running, Equity Merchants, where he speaks with people that put their money in startups.
And those who collect the money too.
Yes. And their experiences, and how it turns out most of the time, what influences them cutting a check for a startup and everything. You can also look out for that series on the Techpoint Africa website. Once again, the Modern Workplace Africa Conference is on. It's here. Why am I so excited? Oh Lord, yes. If you've not registered, if you know what I'm doing behind the scene, trying to get speakers that are going to drop insights at the event, you understand what I'm talking about. Don't miss this, so don't miss you miss it. It's on you because I've tried. So yes, the Techpoint Africa Podcast is also heading towards its 200th edition. Are you looking forward 200. To it? Wait for trivias that will release, and we don't know what you can win from it, but just look out for it. Just look out for it. And thanks to everyone that have been following us on YouTube, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, and also our audio listeners. Yes, you mean
following us on WhatsApp.
On WhatsApp, yes, we feel that I'm tormenting them on my WhatsApp status. Thank you for always following, and our audio listeners. Volu should tell you thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. And you can always find us on our audio platforms: Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, Hi-Hat Radio, and anywhere else you get your podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking with us. This what's it?
So head the H factor.
Whatever. Excuse me.
Is it me?
Hi-Hat Radio.
No, it starts with H. Hi-Hat Radio.
See, why are you arguing? Well, see, ask him if I have not done H factor as I'm here like this for the past 5 minutes. He did not face me. He's trying to frustrate me. Who cares? I'll wear my Yoruba badge on my forehead. Whatever. And yes, we'll see you next week. And yes. I believe you will see your fave next week. He's on a trip and he will be back. You know what I'm talking about here?
Ooh, all right.
Who's that? Get out. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Hello, my name is Muyiwa Matuluko, co-founder and CEO of Techpoint Africa, and I'd like to personally invite you to the Modern Workplace Africa Conference. The Modern Workplace Africa Conference is a gathering of HR professionals, business leaders, employees, job seekers, and thought leaders across various industries in Africa. There, we'll have conversations around talent management, mental health, work-life balance, and much more. If you have a job or you need one, the Modern Workplace Africa Conference is for you. We're talking founders, CEOs, employees, HR professionals, gig workers, and freelancers. At the Modern Workplace Africa Conference, we'll have panel sessions, networking sessions, masterclasses around topics like how to thrive in the gig economy, how to hire and retain top talent, and data-driven recruitment. There'll also be a job fair, so if you're looking to advance your career, you can meet hiring managers there. The Modern Workplace Africa Conference will hold on the 21st of October 2023 at the Landmark Event Center, Victoria Island, Lagos. The event is completely free to attend, but we also have paid options for HR professionals and business executives who want access to the deep dive masterclasses. Organizations can also purchase bulk tickets for their employees. To learn more, please visit modernworkplaceafrica.com or go to the URL on your screen.